Are you facing legal challenges in Indiana but worried about the cost? Discover how you can access quality legal aid without spending a dime. Welcome to this explainer. I'm so thrilled you're joining us today. We're going to break down exactly how the legal aid system works in Indiana, literally step by step. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by the justice system, well, you're in exactly the right place.
It is completely normal to feel a deep sense of anxiety when you're dealing with the legal system, especially when you're on a tight budget, right? The cost of hiring a private attorney can seem just insurmountable. And trying to navigate all that complex legal jargon on your own, it's incredibly daunting. But I want to assure you right off the bat, a free, highly structured, and completely manageable roadmap absolutely exists to get you the representation you deserve.
John Larimore, the executive director of Indiana Legal Services, really hit the nail on the head here. He said, "It's a system that's built for lawyers, and mainly the people they represent are not there by choice." When we talk about legal aid, we aren't talking about trivial, everyday disputes. We're talking about high-stakes, life-altering situations. Things like fighting an eviction to keep a roof over your head, fighting for child custody, or trying to hold on to essential public benefits like food stamps or Medicaid after some bureaucratic error. The stakes literally couldn't be higher.
Section 1. Civil versus criminal legal aid.
Okay, so it's absolutely vital to understand the exact scope of what these organizations do, and honestly, just as importantly, what they don't do. The crucial dividing line here is the difference between civil and criminal law. The free resources we're exploring today, they are exclusively for civil matters. We're talking about cases that protect basic human needs, housing disputes, domestic violence protection orders, family law, debt collection defense, and even criminal record expungements to give folks a second chance. But here's the catch. By federal law, programs funded by the Legal Services Corporation cannot take criminal cases. If you are facing criminal charges and can't afford a lawyer, that's exactly where the Indiana Public Defender System steps in.
Section 2. Meet the major providers.
Let's map out the big players. First up, we have Indiana Legal Services, or ILS. They are the massive statewide safety net, operating across all 92 counties in Indiana, with 8 regional offices. If you're ever unsure where to start, ILS is usually your best bet. Then we have regional heroes like the Neighborhood Christian Legal Clinic. They serve central and northern Indiana with a really strong focus on housing, consumer protection, and immigration. And finally, there's the Indianapolis Legal Aid Society, which focuses on central Indiana, prioritizing immediate access for things like family law and domestic violence protections.
What's really interesting is seeing exactly what kinds of help people are actually looking for. Looking at ILS's recently closed cases, a whopping 36% were strictly housing issues, think evictions and landlord-tenant disputes. Another 28% were family law cases. I point this out because if you are facing a crisis involving your home or your family, you need to know you are absolutely not alone. The system is specifically designed to triage and handle exactly these kinds of emergencies.
Now, these providers don't just offer general help. They actually have these incredible hyper-focused programs. For example, the LAVA program specifically intervenes to protect endangered adults from physical abuse or financial exploitation. They even work to recover stolen assets. There's also the Military Assistance Project for veterans who might be dealing with discharge upgrades or VA overpayments. Plus, there are dedicated programs for immigrant rights, disability rights, and a senior law project. These are incredibly tailored, specific lifelines.
Section 3. Do you qualify?
Understanding the exact financial eligibility rules is arguably the most critical step of our roadmap today. Because funding is limited, these organizations have to strictly verify that their resources are going to the people who need them the absolute most. And here is the magic number, 125%. To qualify for most federally funded civil legal aid through organizations like ALS, your household income generally cannot exceed 125% of the federal poverty level.
Let's look at what that actually means in everyday dollars and cents using the 2026 guidelines. For a household of 1, your maximum annual income needs to be under $19,950. For a family of 4, that cap sits at $40,188 a year. You can kind of mentally calculate your own baseline eligibility right now based on your family size. But hey, before you write yourself off if you make slightly more than this, hold on a second.
Because exceptions absolutely exist. Strict income limits don't apply to everyone across the board. Actually, if you're a senior age 60 or older, there are literally no income limits or household size requirements for specific services under the Senior Law Project.
Also, if you have really heavy financial burdens or specific medical expenses, some folks can actually qualify with an income up to 200% of the poverty level, so definitely don't rule yourself out too quickly.
Section 4. How to apply successfully.
Okay, so you know what they do, and you think you qualify. Awesome. Now we're going to walk through exactly how to apply so your case has the best possible chance of being matched with an attorney. Here is the logical breakdown. Step 1. Gather your documents. You've got to clearly articulate your legal issue. Have your court papers, proof of income, and ID ready to go. But remember, and this is absolutely crucial, never ever send your original documents, only copies. Step 2. Submit the application. And Step 3. This one is vital. If a regional clinic matches you with a volunteer attorney, you usually have a strict window, often just 10 days, to contact that attorney. If you miss that window, you risk being dropped from the program entirely.
So how do you actually submit that application? Well, using Indiana Legal Services as our primary example, you have two main options. You can call their toll-free number, but you need to note the specific hours, Monday through Thursday, strictly between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Because phone lines get super busy, the absolute fastest, most efficient way to get your initial intake done is to use their online portal. It's open 24/7. It takes about 20 minutes to fill out the questionnaire about your income and your specific legal crisis.
Now, I have to give you a quick reality check, just to transparently manage expectations. Nationally, federal funding for civil legal aid is really tight, and these agencies receive hundreds of requests a week. Finding a pro bono placement can sometimes take 2 to 3 months. So if you have an immediate court hearing tomorrow morning, legal aid might not be able to step in fast enough. Genuine patience and persistent, polite follow-up are your absolute best tools here.
Section 5. Alternative clinics and resources.
But what if you have a true emergency? Or what if you don't qualify under that 125% rule? Or you just can't wait 3 months? Well, Indiana has some incredible alternative lifelines. For instance, there's a free legal line every Tuesday evening where you can call in and speak directly with an attorney to get some initial advice. There's also IndianaLegalHelp.org. This is a massive hub funded by the state Supreme Court that gives you free, reliable self-help forms for things like name changes, divorces, and eviction sealing. And finally, don't overlook law school clinics. Places like Notre Dame and IU McKinney have programs where upper-level law students provide free representation, all under the very close supervision of licensed professors.
If you do end up having to represent yourself, you're going to be interacting with court staff, and it is so important to understand what they can and cannot do for you. They can provide forms, explain how the court procedures work, and check your papers for missing signatures, but they strictly cannot give you legal advice. They can't tell you what you should do, and they can't interpret the law for you. Only a licensed lawyer can do that.
Section 6. Summary and important disclaimer.
We have covered a tremendous amount of ground today, so let's just quickly solidify everything you've learned so you have a crystal clear path forward. To recap your roadmap, first, confirm your issue is civil, not criminal. Second, do a quick mental check against that 125% income rule, keeping those senior exceptions in mind. Third, gather all your documents so you're totally prepared. Fourth, apply online to Indiana Legal Services or your regional clinic. And finally, stay persistent and follow up. Accessing free legal aid is highly structured, but it's entirely possible and completely manageable if you just follow these steps.
Before we wrap up, I do need to provide a quick important disclaimer. This explainer is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. I highly encourage you to reach out directly to Indiana Legal Services, your local pro bono district, or use IndianaLegalHelp.org for personalized professional assistance with your specific case. The justice system is undeniably intimidating, but you don't have to face it alone, and you certainly don't have to go bankrupt trying to protect your rights. The resources are out there, literally waiting to be utilized. So I'll leave you with this question. What steps will you take today to secure the legal support you deserve? Thanks so much for learning with me on this explainer, and best of luck as you take action.